Crimson Desert is an upcoming single-player ARPG being developed and published by Pearl Abyss, the creators of the extremely successful MMO Black Desert Online. In this video, we're going to be checking out everything we currently know about Pearl Abyss's upcoming game, which had a new trailer drop this past year at Gamescom Opening Night Live. The game is set to be a single-player open world ARPG and has generated tons of hype from looking like the merged creation of 15 different RPG games, fittingly given the title of Assassin's Fantasy 15 Elders Witcher Scrolls of Tsushima. Crimson Desert has been in development since 2018, so almost 6 years, and is going to be Pearl Abyss's first proper RPG since their hit MMO. From what they have shown so far, it definitely is looking like a very ambitious project. In this video, we'll be exploring what we know so far about the story, world, combat, and various gameplay mechanics. So let's check it out. In Crimson Desert, you'll be playing as Macduff in the world of Pywell. Pywell is a vast continent of divided regions, each with their own people and culture. Macduff hails from the lands of Quaden, a harsh land of snowy peaks that can be seen from across the continent, but there are other diverse landscapes that we'll be able to explore as well. From what has been shown, there is another named region called the Vast Plains of Akapan, and an unnamed desert, forest, rocky plateau area, and mountainous region. Within these distinctive biomes and regions, there will be cities such as the desert oasis of Quaden's Ulsrund, Land of the Wolf, as well as villages, castles, towers, and other monuments of civilization. The technology of Pywell is primarily medieval, with new technological advancements ushering in a new age of warfare thanks to the invention of pistols, cannons, and hand-mounted cannons. That's not all though, as along with the invention of new weaponry was the discovery of alchemy, an art allowing practitioners to imbue weapons with additional abilities, making times of war and battle fierce in Pywell. The overarching story seems to revolve around the King of Demonis, unifier of lands, who has fallen into a coma and thus prompted political chaos. And those who suffered from his iron rule are now contesting for power, with some simply seeking independence, while others set their sights on creating a new absolutist rule. However, amidst the chaos, there are rumors of beings from a distant world that exists in a time yet to be, and mysterious gates leading to mystical passages of time. This aspect of story and how it seems to blend a sci-fi world into a medieval world looks to be very much inspired by the Animus in Assassin's Creed. The world of Crimson Desert that was showcased in their gameplay trailers looks absolutely enormous, with interesting monuments and structures spread out across all the different regions of the game. Inside the map and its various biomes, the player will encounter hostile wildlife such as massive crabs or a pack of wolves, along with various herbs and materials which may be unique for specific regions of the game. Moreover, it seems like within each region there are going to be different religions and cultures, as well as an intriguing blend of species like you would see in the Elder Scrolls Online. From what has been showcased, there are humans, goblins, orcs, trolls, antler people, dwarves, and other unnamed species. How these different species blend together and the political turmoil between them is no doubt going to be an important part of the game and its story. Going back to the mysterious time beings, Pearl Studios also teased unnaturally floating islands within the world, which are definitely tied to the sci-fi part of Crimson Desert's upcoming story, though not much is known about them for now. By far the most ambitious aspect of Crimson Desert, though, is going to be the scale of what exactly you can do in it. You can pet the dog and cuddle the cat. That is next-gen gaming. But seriously, the scale is massive. Just to start, let's lay out the basics. There are of course going to be side quests and the main quest, just like in any other ARPG. There will be a party system in the game, and you'll be able to recruit mercenaries, earn their support by gaining their respect, and engage in battles alongside them. There will be gear to loot, equipable items, and a rarity system, as well as a crafting and cooking system that uses materials that you find throughout the world. In terms of the world's dynamics, there seems to be a day and night cycle, as well as a current temperature in the HUD on the bottom left, so there may be some kind of survival aspect to the game, or maybe temperature and time play a role in certain monsters spawning in or certain quests being completed. And a large part of the game looks like it's going to be about raiding outposts and castles. However, it won't be as simple as just sneaking in like you would in most single-player games. Now you need siege weapons to destroy the gates and walls of these structures, which all crumble with proper building destruction physics. Wooden outposts will collapse with splinters of wood flying everywhere, brick castle walls can be shattered with heavy artillery, and explosive barrels can obliterate structures into a million pieces. Definitely a selling point. Alternatively, there are less thunderous methods of entering areas. You can pole vault over outpost barricades and into the outpost like an Olympic athlete, or for cities with a climbable architecture, you can effortlessly grab onto ledges in the wall to parkour into a window, or even the roofs of a city, Assassin's Creed style. You can even climb the trees in the wild to gain high ground, or traverse through ravines using a rope to swing from one cliff to another, not unlike Spider-Man. The main use of parkour in Crimson Desert will likely be to escape people, as there will be a crime and bounty system. From what we've seen so far, the only confirmed crime is kicking some poor dude off his carriage and stealing his horses in broad daylight. But crime will probably also include pickpocketing, stealing, town guards chasing you, and maybe even a fencing or bounty collection system. For traversing the world, you'll get a trusty mount and plenty of horses to ride, but you'll be able to unlock more methods of traversal throughout the game. The first one is the hot air balloon, which can be used to fly around Pywell and visit the mysterious floating islands, which will probably progress the main story. The other method of transportation we saw involved using a strange power, which enshrouds the player with a black feathered cloak, allowing them to glide through the air. This power is likely connected to the dark psychic power that Macduff possesses, which seems to be used to open gateways and cleanse structures throughout the world. The final method of transportation is flying a massive dragon. The dragon can do flips and barrel rolls, and you will be dodging magic missiles with this mighty companion at some point in the story. Another important part of Crimson Desert will be puzzles and secrets. So far, we've only seen a couple of puzzles, one involving connecting beams of light, and another being a runic minefield. The only secret that has been shown so far is hidden ice platforms in the world suspended high above the ground that are completely invisible to the naked eye. Players will need to take a plunge to discover the secret ice platforms and unveil the world in its entirety. Besides the main features of Crimson Desert, there were also a few minigames showcased within the world. Minigames are a great part of ARPGs because they usually add some kind of flavor to the setting and serve as a nice break from the combat part of any ARPG. One such break will be undoubtedly fishing and its likely complementary system of cooking. You can also tame a horse by jumping on its back and desperately clinging onto it as it tries to kick you off. There was also a QuickTime event cutscene in the trailer, so we can expect to see these in the game as well. Crimson Desert's combat is definitely on track to living up to its predecessor Black Desert Online in terms of flashy animations and satisfying combos. Weapons we've seen so far are axes, bows, and swords, and bows seem to have explosive tips, which can be used on horseback to explode destructible buildings as you pass by. Players will have many hand-to-hand skills as well that take inspiration from wrestling and taekwondo to masterfully maneuver large groups of enemies, such as through a TKO headlocking takedown, roundhouse kicks, triple mid-air kicks, and even a Sparta-like move. Specific skills may work especially well against certain enemies with weaknesses, such as the giant crab enemy, which was shown to be tipped over after the player bounces a kick off it, allowing them to secure a fatal blow. There are also different approaches to combat. As in most ARPGs nowadays, you can block with a shield, dodge, sidestep, and parry enemies as a method of defense. There seems to be skills that counter enemy attacks by vaulting over them or charging at them to pin them to the ground. The most interesting and perhaps ethically questionable approach is going to be taking an enemy hostage by sneaking up behind them and using their life as leverage to get an upper hand. Not exactly heroic, but maybe this will play into some kind of morality system within the game. Most of the time in combat, players will face two situations, a one-on-one scenario or a skirmish against multiple opponents. Enemies you will face while in the latter will likely be weak humans or some of the other species in the game, while enemies you face in one-on-one scenarios seem deadly. For example, you could face one of the mythical beasts of the world, such as the Kraken, a sea serpent, or a huge bloodthirsty ape with deer antlers. Other enemies shown were robot mechs, robot dragons, real dragons, and straight-up Ents from Lord of the Rings, which you can climb. The most cinematic enemy fight we have seen so far is definitely the Reed Devil boss fight, which looks like a battle straight out of the memorable Ghost of Tsushima duels. Another enemy that you can face is a giant lightning-wielding monster that sits upon a throne chucking lightning spears at you. Once Macduff defeats this enemy, he learns how to wield explosive lightning techniques, which he can use to conjure explosive lightning against enemies. Since there is a monster that can be defeated to give Macduff lightning capabilities, it's possible that there are other monsters wielding fire, earth, or water abilities that Macduff can also learn to use in combat. Crimson Desert has been in production since 2018, as I mentioned earlier, but with the ambitious goals Perlibis has set, it is unlikely we will see a full release in 2024. There is no official release date as of now, but we can expect a likely 2025 release on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Final thoughts. The hype for Crimson Desert is massive, and it's well deserved given the amazing trailer that they revealed at Gamescom Opening Night Live last year, showcasing a game that has almost everything you could want in an ARPG. It's looking to mesh all the amazing qualities of the best games that gaming has seen in the past decade and deliver them into a single, neat package. The biggest challenge for Pearl Abyss will obviously be sticking the landing at launch and delivering a polished, optimized product. Crimson Desert is an extremely ambitious title, and it's hard to imagine that they can nail all of these aspects, but even if they only nail some of them or most of them, Crimson Desert looks like it will be a game that will stand out once it releases. So what do you guys think of the Crimson Desert gameplay? Have you seen it so far? Is it too much for you? Are there too many things happening in this game? Or are you excited that there are a lot of different aspects to this game from a lot of different genres of RPGs? Let us know in the comments below.